just in case we got
Hey, Crown Nation. This is Naima with Rock the Crown. We are here with our lovely guest, dietitian, Yakutullah Muhammad. Today we'll be talking about the do's and don'ts of food, herbs, and supplements because this is the Naughty Nutrition segment. All right. Hey, Yakutullah girl.
Hey,
how are you?
welcome everyone. Good evening. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're sheltering in place and practicing social distancing.
I know, right? So this is our segment of social distancing as well. But we're so excited today because we want to basically introduce to our audience, of course, you as a dietitian. And because we have so much going on in the world right now, we want to kind of talk about what's happening in the world. And for us, we're coming from this perspective of, as I like to say, naughty nutrition, the do's and don'ts of food and herbs. And so because we have so much going on, we'd love for you to help us kind of navigate through some of these things that we do on a daily basis in terms of eating specific foods as well as herbs and supplements and the do's and don'ts of those foods. So let's start off talking about the onions. Tell us about the onions.
Okay, cool. So I get a lot of questions about this, right? And I just want to preface this by saying that ongoing preventative nutrition doesn't just occur in a pandemic. It's something that we're going to strive to do ongoing every day of the week, right? During the year. And especially with Ramadan coming up, it's going to be super important to make sure that we reset for Ramadan and definitely get on track. All right. So for onions specifically, we're talking a lot about fruits and vegetables, specifically for onions. Of course, they're anti-inflammatory. They have anti-inflammatory properties such as anthocyanins, and of course, those are plant chemicals. What do these plant chemicals do? They actually help to ward off free radicals. Free radicals are produced when we eat our food, and energy is produced from our food. So it's going to be really important that we include fruits and vegetables, right? Plus, with the anti-inflammatory properties, of course, they're going to help to boost your immune system. So it's not just onions, but it's also things like garlic, cumin, ginger, turmeric, a lot of the herbs and spices that are also anti-inflammatory.
Okay, great. And share a little bit more about garlic. Why should we be using garlic more regularly than we probably normally do?
All right, so garlic is actually, it actually helps because it's actually considered a probiotic. And you have prebiotic and probiotic categories. And these are basically fruits, vegetables, different herbal supplements that can actually help produce healthy gut bacteria. And that's really important to make sure that you maintain healthy, good gut bacteria, because that's going to help, of course, breaking down certain foods and things that you eat within your gut and help to make sure that you maintain a healthy gut. So that's really important.
Okay, excellent. And what about that lovely ginger that people are always talking about? Make ginger tea and all of those good things.
Right. So ginger is great. The recommendation, of course, is to make sure that you get your ginger raw. That's the best way to consume it. So you're going to do raw. You're going to make sure you can put it into your meals. You can also make teas out of it. So if you can have it raw, that's great. You can also dry it out and use it in your teas. But the garlic is actually very good to help promote healthy digestion. Oftentimes you may have it, as part of a meal, but also, at night after you eat your dinner, you can actually have ginger to help with the digestive process.
Okay, excellent. And what's a great way to dry ginger?
You can just cut it. You can set it out and dry it. And then sometimes what I do is actually put it in my food processor and just, process it down, and you can dry it out if you want. Put it in like a napkin and dry it out.
Okay, excellent. And what about those wonderful citrus fruits that we talk about all the time?
I'm going to go back to ginger. Another way you can do it, if you really want to do it dry, is fine. You can actually get it from the farmer's market if you want, or you can dry it out yourself.
Okay. And the farmer's market, for those who are looking and they're not here in Atlanta, we're talking about the DeKalb farmer's market here in Atlanta and basically Decatur area, right?
Yep.
All righty. And the citrus fruits?
Oh, yeah. So my citrus fruits are awesome because what do they provide? They provide vitamin C. Now, a lot of times people talk about elderberry. Elderberry, yes, it does provide a little bit, but the vitamin C is also in certain green vegetables and also vitamin C's. You have your tangerines, you have your berries, which are going to be a very big one. All right, so your raw berries, your strawberries, your blueberries, your raspberries, things like that are going to provide an excellent source of vitamin C. Now, with that said, when we talk about our vitamins and minerals, specifically vitamin C, of course, is a water-soluble vitamin. When we're talking about vitamin C specifically, the recommendation is between 65 and 90 milligrams a day, right? So what does that mean? Oftentimes, we don't know the upper limits of certain vitamins and minerals, right?
Right.
So it's really important to look at upper limits for vitamin C specifically. It's about 2,000 milligrams or 2 grams a day, right? So when you're talking about vitamin C, you'll definitely get that easily if you're consuming, your citrus fruits. And if you want, you can also do vitamin C in a supplement, right? The important things that if you're taking vitamin C or you're taking any other vitamin or mineral in a supplement form, you want to make sure you're not going above the upper limit. Now, one thing I will share, one of the ones that I really like that I actually take, I can put this in water, I can put this in my tea and my juice. It's actually vitamin C crystals, right? Ascorbic acid. It's the Now brand. I really like this one. It's pure powder. It's a pharmaceutical grade. It's non-GMO. And you basically, for this one, you get about 1,100 milligrams and 1/4 of a teaspoon. So it's really important that you see what the serving is so that you don't overdo it, okay, with your vitamin. And consider that if you're taking a supplement and you're taking the fruit, then you don't want to overdo it. So if you take the fruit and you say, okay, hey, maybe I'm getting a half from this, you can actually look up on the USDA nutrient database how much vitamin C is contained in your fruits, and then making sure, say, 2,000 milligrams, that you're not overdoing it. So if this already gives you 1,000, right? You're getting another 1,000 from your fruits, and it's not, you just don't want to get too much. You want to have a healthy balance, and just pay attention to how much you're taking in. And you can order these on Amazon if you want. You can order them online directly from the Now company. That's fine. So you don't have to go out.
Hey, that's also a great tip. Okay, let's move on to, how about some spinach, kale, and maybe some broccoli in our life?
Yeah, great. Okay, cool. Yeah, so your spinach, your kale, again, your vitamin K is going to come from your spinach and kale. You can definitely do those. You're also going to get your fiber. You just want to make sure that you're getting these on an ongoing basis. So the recommendation is that you have half of your plate green vegetables. That's any green leafy vegetable you want to have, right?
And that's again, girl, because people think it's 1/4. No, it's how much?
It's actually half of your plate.
Yes, excellent. Thank you.
Green vegetables, half of your plate, and then you have, 1/4 for your protein and 1/4 for your carbohydrates. So just, the more green vegetables, the better. So you can definitely get the spinach, you can do kale, you can do broccoli. A lot of this you can, like I said, get from the farmer's market. You can get it from your local farmer, right? So what are some local farmers that we have here? We have Truly Living Well, and we also have Bread and Butter Farms. Those are kind of my 2 favorites. And then we also have here, we have the Muhammad Schools, and then they do a little garden that's pretty cool, where they have some nice yields. So
yes, excellent. And let's talk about sweet potatoes.
Sweet potato, no, sweet potato is awesome. You're going to get a little vitamin C from sweet potatoes. You're also going to get fiber. You're also going to get vitamin A, and that's going to be good for your eye health. And the recommendation is you can get the sweet potato. You can eat the sweet potato whole with the fiber. It actually added if you eat the skin. If not, you will still get some fiber from your sweet potato.
Okay, and I know people don't like beets, but I personally love beets. So tell us a little bit about beets and why they're so important.
Yeah, so beets are definitely gonna give you your iron. It's gonna give you your vitamin C. Definitely gonna give you your fiber. Recommendation for beets is about a 1/2 cup to a cup serving. You can eat them raw. You can eat them cooked. My favorite way to eat them is in a juice, to have it juiced.
Right.
Shred them over a salad, and they make a great snack. So you definitely get your iron from beets.
Yeah.
Really good. I don't recommend them out of the can. Of course, I recommend them fresh because that's the best quality.
Yes, excellent. And before we go on, the last thing we want to talk about in this portion is the fermented vegetables.
All right, so fermented vegetables, some of the most popular ones would be like kimchi or sauerkraut, but specifically fermented vegetables are a source of probiotics. And again, probiotics are going to help promote that healthy gut bacteria that we all need, all right? So as you know, your immune system, your gut health is most important and influences the rest of your body's health.
Excellent, excellent. And remembering that way back in the day, our grandparents, great grandparents, they used to eat a lot of fermented foods, meaning like a lot of pickled things. And that is why they were so much more healthier than we are now, because we're not eating as many fermented fruits and vegetables. But we want to make sure that we're encouraging people to do that. So now we're going to go into the second part of our segment, talking about herbs and supplements. So, oftentimes we have people who, they'll hear something from someone, and then of course, then that becomes their golden rule, as we would like to say. Like, oh, okay, oh, that's what you do. But really, we want to make sure that we're sharing with people the knowledge portion of that. So let's kind of start off with talking about turmeric. We hear so many different benefits of turmeric, but why is that important?
Again, your turmeric is anti-inflammatory, so it's going to provide the anti-inflammatory properties and help ridding the body of free radicals. Your turmeric, again, that can be purchased fresh. And you can actually grate it down and put it into different, teas or foods that you're cooking. And you can actually get that in. Now, the turmeric, you can also make, one of my favorites is called golden milk. And basically, it's a tea, and it involves turmeric, and I usually use like an almond or oat milk. But again, turmeric is one of your anti-inflammatory herbs and spices. Cinnamon is actually pretty good. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can go ahead, cinnamon. Talk about it. Yes.
Cinnamon is actually pretty good. I usually love that in my oatmeal, but cinnamon specifically actually helps with controlling your blood glucose levels. And the recommendation is about 500 milligrams a day. And you can put that, in your food. You can put it in your oatmeal, just as a regular preventative measure. You can definitely do that.
Yes, that's great to know, because I know that a lot of people really don't realize how important cinnamon is inside of their diet. And also, when you were talking about having fresh turmeric, can you kind of explain to people where that would be located in the store for those who don't have it, and what it would actually look like?
I wish I could share pictures. So fresh turmeric, it's a root. It's like a little turmeric root. It looks like a very small carrot, but of course it's like a yellowish gold. And it's usually located next to your ginger. So if the store has it, it's going to be in the same section as your ginger.
Okay, excellent. Just so that everybody can know, so we will make sure that we're giving them all the information. Next, let's talk about a little bit about fenugreek.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Awesome. All right, cool. So fenugreek is actually a part of the bean family.
Hey!
Yeah, so it actually promotes lactation, which is pretty cool. And it actually helps to promote, lactation as far as the promotion of milk. You can take it daily if you'd like to. It's, of course, all natural. And you can buy it in supplement form, or you can get it fresh, again, in the farmer's market. From your fresh herb and spice section. It's commonly found, of course, in the Middle East, and it's very common in supplements that you can get. So fenugreek is another one that you definitely can add as a part of your daily regimen. Did you want me to go on to the?
Yeah, go ahead. Go to the next one. Yes, yes.
Okay, so black seed is another one. I know a lot of people go, oh man, black seed. Yeah, so black seed, I like to call it one of my my Quran found supplements, because a lot of times in the Quran you have different herbs and spices that are also mentioned,
Right.
just as kind of like a daily regimen type deal. I love black seed. You can do it in a capsule form, or you can do the liquid supplement form. The most important thing to recognize is when you do black seed, you want it to be 100% pure cold pressed if you're going to do black seed. So your black seed, again, comes from your black cumin, and cumin is anti-inflammatory. Another thing you want to make sure that you get is make sure that it's non-GMO. My favorite brand is actually called Amazing Herbs, and it's actually produced here, which is pretty cool, in Beaufort, Georgia. So one of my favorite ones, and I'll show it to you, is this one. That's the one I like, because it has a key in it. And then another one, if you do the capsule form, the capsule form actually contains your golden seal and echinacea, and that's another preventative supplement that we can actually take to produce, actually help with our immune system, and that's the one. So you can take one or the other. It's not necessarily to take both of them.
Right.
And again, this is only one capsule a day. This one is really just 1 teaspoon a day. And if you take it and you open it and you use the little tincture, you get about 1 teaspoon anyway. So it's very easy to measure.
Okay, great. And again, remind people where black seed comes from, because I think that some people don't really understand where it is associated with. But we know that black seed, as you were stating, comes from cumin. But where exactly would you find it most located?
When you say where?
Like, I guess people might not know where the origination of it comes from.
Okay.
So just getting people knowledgeable.
Caraway,
Like,
it's like your black seed, caraway seed.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's a type of seed. That's all. Like if you were to go see black seed or you see sesame seed, it's a type of seed. And what they do is they press it down, just like argan, nut seed.
Right.
Press it down, cold press, and then they make it into an oil.
Okay, excellent. Just so that people will know, because I know a lot of people are like, what is black seed? Just so that, we're kind of targeting all of the masses, because we know that there are some Muslims that are listening, but we also have a little bit of.
And it's often really mentioned in a lot of the ancient texts. So, historical documents and things like that. So definitely,
Okay.
Touch upon
Excellent. That. Okay, how about some elderberry? So I know that there have been some articles going on about, hey, don't use elderberry with this COVID-19. So what do you want to say about elderberry?
Just for elderberry, it's interesting because I actually used that a few times, but the elderberry specifically, again, you just want to make sure that you do realize it's a berry. So it is going to have some of the anti-inflammatory properties. It's going to provide some vitamin C. Elderberry is actually contraindicated in certain populations. So not so specifically for children who have diabetes or who have autoimmune disorders should not take elderberry.
Okay.
And that's just kind of a general rule of thumb. Just like any other supplement as part of your health regime, you don't want to overdo it when you're taking it. The recommendation is about 1 to 2 tablespoons, right? I'm sorry, 1 to 2 teaspoons. So you're not taking very much of it. And you want to make sure that you don't become necessarily dependent on one specific, health regimen or one specific vitamin or mineral. Specifically saying I'm only going to take this and forget or do away with everything else. It's part of a balance that you're getting with your foods, your fruits, your vegetables, as well as other items that you're going to be taking. So you don't want to say, oh, I'm just going to take elderberry and then just not eat any other berries or fruits and things like that. You want to make sure you have a nice, healthy balance, which is really important. Specifically, some side effects for elderberry, if you take too much of it, again, and I want to address this just to make sure everybody's not overdoing it, is to make sure that you're not taking too much because you get dizziness, you can get weakness, you can have vomiting, you can go into a stupor and have numbness. So I think a lot of the recommendations on the side of elderberry comes out of making sure that people aren't overdoing it, just as a general rule of thumb.
Right. And can you also explain to people, I know that people are taking herbs, that just kind of how we may or may not be taking, like, making sure you're not taking herbs that counteract one another, and
nutrient interactions are big.
Right, and making sure that people understand that herbs and the rules of FDA. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so a lot of times, if FDA sees, things in society or sees that people are taking specific ones, and we'll talk a little bit about that when we get to colloidal silver, they will, in general, FDA does not regulate the nutrient supplementation industry, right? If they see something that's kind of like, okay, this may pose a significant risk or danger, then they'll basically say, well, we're not going to endorse this. We're not going to really put this out or recommend it as far as FDA. And that's just kind of their rule of thumb. Right. But for the most part, they do not regulate the supplement industry for the most part.
Okay.
So that's why it's important. There are things in place like making sure that certain supplements have a seal of approval, good, what is it called? The seal, good measure, okay, which is basically looking at making sure that vitamins and minerals are produced under certain environments, making sure that they don't have harmful levels of chemicals in them, or they're not produced in certain factories that could have potential contaminants, right? So they'll have like a USF seal on it, or they'll have a good measure seal of it, seal of good housekeeping on it. So you want to try to make sure that you find those. A lot of times people will go online and they'll order supplements from, countries that may not be in line with good manufacturing practices. And
Right.
I'll leave it at that. Okay.
Okay.
So they may have additives and things that adulterate what you're actually getting. So it may
Right.
not be 100% of what you should be getting. So that you want to make sure that you look out for that. You want to make sure it's non-GMO. You want to make sure that it doesn't contain any additional ingredients that may not be the best to take. So.
Okay, excellent. And speaking of colloidal silver, I have some of that.
Where is it? Oh, you're actually taking it. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Actually, I'm not taking it specifically because I don't want to mix a lot of herbs. So recently, and this is gonna probably sound a little crazy, there's an older gentleman that I know of. His name is Baba G, and he
Baba G, yeah,
makes a tonic. And so it's, yeah. And so everyone who knows Baba G, we love him so much, but he's, he has a lot of herbs and things like that from Africa. And so the actual tonic that I've been taking has really actually cleaned a lot of my system and stuff like that. And so because I don't know, or I don't want it to counteract with something so I haven't started taking this as of yet. I've been taking my Baba G tonic, which is really, really, woo! It's special, but yeah.
Yeah, she said it's special.
Yeah, it has like, it's definitely an acquired taste. Like it is the most, that's how I know it's working.
That's how she knows it's working. Oh my God.
Oh my God, yeah, it's powerful, but so that's why I'm not taking that as of right now. But after, hopefully once I process through this whole, it's basically like a 30. Oh yeah, it's big. So once I process through that, then maybe I'll go back to colloidal silver. But with that being said, what do you want to say about colloidal silver? Colloidal silver.
Colloidal silver. Okay. So colloidal silver, I get a lot of questions about this. People say, well, how much are you supposed to take? When you get colloidal silver, do they tell you how much to take? Do they tell you what the recommended dosage is?
Oh, on this one, let's see. It says 1 teaspoon per 6 to 8 ounces of water.
1 teaspoon. Okay. All right.
In water or juice, yeah.
Okay, so a lot of times with the colloidal silver specifically, colloidal silver is a mineral. You actually have colloidal gold too, which is very interesting.
I did see that.
Did you see that?
I did, but I didn't know what that was. So I was like,
that was so interesting. So colloidal silver is basically what it is it's silver, right? It's a liquid, and it has very small pieces, very small particles of silver in it, right? So basically what it's supposed to do is it's actually supposed to attack germs in your body, and neutralize the protein of those germs, right? So in effect, neutralizing the germ. The thing about it is with the dosing, it doesn't actually, and you asked about the USDA earlier, it doesn't actually have upper and lower limits for the recommendations for dosing.
I see.
It really just depends on the user's age and their health and any, what other conditions are really going on with the person. So because there hasn't been set dosages, like with vitamin C, we know it's 2,000 milligrams, right? But there's no set dosage for colloidal silver. Okay. So a lot of times it's interesting, people will sell it kind of like, okay, this is a complementary and an alternative, item that you can take. But my main concern with it would be, how do you dose it if there's no recommended dosage, right? And then it has, the question is, if we don't know how much we're supposed to take, then what becomes of it if we take too much, right? So what are the contraindicated uses? One is pregnancy and breastfeeding. It's actually not recommended for women who are pregnant or breastfeeding. Right. So I just kind of take some of those into consideration. If people are going to come to me and ask me how much am I supposed to take, I want to make sure that I have some research to back it up before I tell you to take it as a healthcare provider, because then it falls back on me. I want to make sure that you're taking the right stuff, and then you're taking the right amount, that this actually going to produce the effect that you seek to get.
Right.
So
Totally understand that. Last thing we're going to talk about
I
today.
can say, oh, this is how much you should take, Naima. But if I don't know how much you should take, and then it runs the risk that people say, well, I'm going to take it with breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you don't
That
really know
sounds like too
how
much.
much silver is in it, then
Yeah.
you run the risk of silver deposits long term.
Right.
In your vital organs, your skin,
Right.
your liver, your kidney, if you're taking too much. So I just, I'm kind of err on the side of caution with that one.
Yeah. Because those are metals that, if I'm not mistaken, cannot be removed from your body.
Yeah, with prolonged use in large quantities, it actually develops what's known as argyria, which, and you guys can look this up. It's ARGYRIA. And it's basically taking a lot of it for a long period of time. It becomes deposited in your skin, and you'll see like a bluish hue, right?
I see. Okay.
And it gets to the point where if you take too much of it, it's non-reversible. So just
basically, you can turn into a mermaid. No, I'm joking.
Now, of course, that's if you're taking too much, right? Right, that's a lot, right? Like if you're taking it 3 times a day, every day, but we don't know what the recommended dose is. So how do we know what's too much?
Right, we just have to be careful. Okay, the last thing we want to talk about today is zinc, because we talked about vitamin C, but we want to talk about zinc before we leave out.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So of course your zinc is another mineral that actually helps helps to boost your immune system, of course. It's an essential trace mineral, right? So essential basically means you got to get it, from your food. So that's the biggest thing. And if it's essential, that means your body doesn't make it necessarily. You have to get it from your food. You can get it from things like your poultry. You can get it from fish and things like that. So you definitely want to make sure that you're getting enough zinc. A lot of times, again, you can get it from food sources, or you can get it from a multivitamin. So zinc is really, really important. So yeah.
Okay, excellent. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us before we end?
Just that as we go into Ramadan, I think it's really important that we really focus on our foods, and our beverages, and other ways that we can really boost our immune system. So a lot of it, people are like, what can I take to boost my immune system besides your vitamins and your minerals, your nutrients, making sure you're getting in your fruits and vegetables. You also want to make sure you're getting some rest, right? You also want to make sure that you're managing stress, right? Making sure that you hydrate, because it's all a part of that balance, to have that balance. So that's really, really important.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Yakusala, for joining us today. So again, everybody, yes, we're Crown Nation. We want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. Again, make sure that you like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to us on YouTube, and share this specific segment with all of your friends and family, because it's very, very important. And until next time, Crown Nation, we'll see you. Peace out.
Thank you. Peace out.
Thank you.